Breast cancer is a disease that knows no boundaries. It strikes women from all backgrounds, races and ethnicities, the rich and the poor, the old and the young. Yes, young women can even get breast cancer, and the result can be devastating.
Absolutely. And so joining us today and as part of our My Health series is Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz to discuss breast cancer awareness, early detection, and the power of knowledge, which is so important. Debbie, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Could you tell us your story? You have a very personal one. You were affected by breast cancer?
Yes. About a little more than 2 years ago, I was doing a self-exam in the shower and found a lump in my breast. I did breast self-exam semi-regularly, but not so often, but often enough to know the way my breasts usually felt, so that I would know when something felt different. And I knew something was not supposed to be there. Went to my doctor. Actually, was told that I was fine. I had a biopsy. Was told that after the frozen section was done, that everything was okay. And then 3 days later, after the pathology results came back, my worst fear was confirmed, and I had breast cancer, and I was only 41.
Oh my goodness!
So,
one of the things I always talk about is that there is a history in my own family. In your opinion, do you think that cancer can be genetic or is genetic?
Oh, there is a genetic predisposition to cancer, and actually, even though I was a breast cancer advocate, passed legislation in the Florida legislature in the fight against breast cancer, I didn't know that as an Ashkenazi Jewish woman, a Jewish woman of Eastern European descent, that I was 5 times more likely to be a carrier of the breast cancer gene mutation. Wow. And that gave me about a 65% greater chance of getting breast cancer, and between a 40 and 85% chance of getting ovarian cancer. And it turns out that after I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I am a carrier of the BRCA2 genetic mutation, which gave me that greater likelihood.
And now that you know that, there's no doubt that awareness and knowledge are so important, aren't they?
They are, and what I realized is that if I didn't know, as active as I had been in the fight against breast cancer as a legislator before I was a breast cancer survivor, then imagine how many thousands of women who are at higher risk don't know. I mean, so to me it was critical that we'd be able to raise awareness in higher risk populations and among younger women, because younger women think they're invincible. They don't pay attention to their health in general, and they certainly don't think that they're going to get breast cancer. That's something that in their mind, that's happens to older people. And even for me, I always knew there was a chance, but I never thought it would be me.
Right. Nobody ever does. And that's what I think is so scary. You always think, oh, it's going to happen to somebody else. It's never going to be me. And you talk about the fact that a lot of young people think they're invincible. That's why they drive fast. That's why they do engage in some of the risky behaviors.
And they don't go to the doctor.
And they don't go to the doctor.
They don't do self-exam.
Yep. And so let's clarify here. Breast cancer is not just, or breast cancer testing for women who are over the age of 40.
Well, mammography is really limited to women who are over the age of 40. But making sure that you pay attention to your own breast health, in other words, knowing what your breasts normally feel like, so that you know when something feels different, doing regular self-exam, making sure that you just take a look and realizing that it's not always a lump. But the other issue that so often happens is that healthcare providers are dismissive of young women. You know, a young woman, I've heard countless stories now where younger women go into the doctor, they know something's wrong, they felt a lump, they know there's a problem, and the doctor says, young women don't get breast cancer. Come back in 6 months, it's probably just a cyst. And when they come back, they trust their doctor, so when they come back, it's diagnosed at a later stage, they have more significant health care, and the chance of survival is less than it would have been.
That just makes me so angry to think about that.
And there's no doubt, in everything in life, knowledge is power. And now that you know this and what you've been through, what steps are you taking now as a woman who's been through this?
And as a politician.
And as a politician. And I was going to end with that.
Thank you. Well, what I did was, after I got through my year of surgery and dealing with my own personal breast cancer, and knew I was going to be okay, I knew that I wanted to share my story publicly and use my position as a member of Congress to help other women and find a niche that I could fill, because there's lots of people who are supporting breast cancer research and pushing for more funding, and I didn't want to just be me too. I'm for that. I mean, of course I'm for that. I wanted to be able to advance the cause. So focusing on the awareness of younger women is what I chose, and I introduced a bill called the Early Act the Education and Awareness Requires Learning Young Act. And it passed into law as part of the healthcare reform legislation. I actually introduced it when I shared my story on March 23rd of 2009. And March 23rd of 2010, a year to the day that we introduced it, it became law when President Obama signed the healthcare reform bill into law. And what it does is it creates a national education and awareness campaign targeted at women between 15 and 45 years old, and also targeted at healthcare providers, so that they understand that when a young woman comes in with a problem with their breast, that they shouldn't just automatically be dismissive. We need to make sure that young women know that they should go in and get clinical exams. And we need to make sure that groups that are out there that are trying to help young women deal with the unique issues that we face when we're dealing with breast cancer get the kind of grant funding that they need. Because, you know, it is a completely different experience going through breast cancer as a young woman than it is as an older woman. I mean, you have fertility issues that so often, I mean, if you're going to go through chemotherapy and you don't even have a boyfriend, never mind thinking about planning a family, someone needs to talk to you about how you're going to preserve your fertility. Sometimes young women need a conversation about dating. I mean, on what date do you share with the person that you're dating that you've had a double mastectomy? I mean, those are issues that women in their 50s and 60s just really don't have to deal with. So the legislation also provides that grant funding for those organizations so we can reach out to more young women and help them get through it.
Absolutely. And I know that you've been involved in a lot of movements. I know there's another movement that you've been involved in with regards to breast cancer as well. Tell us about that.
Well, I passed a resolution out of the House of Representatives in August that creates the National Breast and Ovarian Hereditary Cancer Awareness Week, and a National Previvor Day as well, because women who have the breast cancer gene, either BRCA1 or BRCA2, that we're at higher risk. And raising awareness in those high-risk populations, Ashkenazi Jews, young African-American women, and other high-risk groups, it's important that they know that family history is important. It's important that they know that they are potentially at risk and that they pay more attention to their breast health than they might have. And then National Previvor Day was created so that if you are a carrier of that genetic mutation, that you know that there's a possibility that you may one day go through those diseases, ovarian cancer or breast cancer, and making sure that those women know what the possibilities and the options are for them, so that you can raise awareness about women that are at risk but may not have experienced the disease yet.
Right. I hear you, and you inspire me, as I'm sure you're inspiring Danielle with everything you've gone through, everything you've done, everything you're doing, taking something negative and making it positive. Well, could you give a message to those women out there that maybe are not as strong as you?
Well, you know, we all find our own strength.
Yes.
You summon the strength that you need, and I don't think that anything is thrown at you that you can't handle. But as a mom with two young daughters, who knows that my daughters now that I am a carrier of the BRCA2 mutation, know that they're at higher risk, it was absolutely critical to me that I be able to use my position and my ability to reach out to women across the country and raise awareness, help them have the tools that they need, particularly higher risk groups and younger women, so that one day, if they do have to face breast cancer, that they're more likely to catch it early and it increases their chance for survival. We need to make sure that women of all ages, from the time that your breasts develop, not that you obsess about it, not that you have to get a mammogram before it's recommended, but make sure that you always know what is normal for you.
For sure. That is, I think, the most important thing, and what a great way to end it. Thank you so much for being on the show this morning and sharing your story.
Thank you. And for more information on cancer, early detection and awareness, please visit Debbie's website, and that's wassermanschultz.house.gov.